Stop recording video. Dimmed. Stop recording video. Button.
Hello again, welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is BGFH, and I'm back for a shorter video this time, but nonetheless a cool one. I want to give you guys a little bit of an update on VR. Yeah, I did a little video a few weeks ago now about the Oculus Rift, when I saw the Oculus Rift for the first time, and I was pretty blown away. And got me thinking, hey, you know, Google Cardboard is out there, and with Google's keynote earlier this summer, you can now, Google Cardboard devices are supported on iOS. So I thought, you know what? Let's get some cheap VR in here and see what it's like. What I have in front of me here is, as you can tell here, it is the Knox Next. This is, there are several pre-made and assembly required kits. There's the official cardboard from Google, and then there are a lot of third-party manufacturers that make their own sort of kits. Now, I went and I bought this one pre-assembled online just because I was like, some of the diagrams and stuff as a low vision user, I figured, yeah, that might be a little hard to see how they want you to do it, and it wasn't really, it was like $1 or $2 more expensive. So got the web address here. But this is essentially a cheaper version of an affordable version of VR that is out now that you can get for both Android and iOS devices. And the way it works is you got a couple of lenses in here. I'll try to get in close with a little reflection there. But you got two lenses, and then you got your little nose, the little place where you can kind of just set it on top of your nose sort of deal. And you just put your face in there, and then on the back side, or if you look at the top here, there's some Velcro, and you actually slide your phone inside this little compartment here, and then you see the little divider here. That's just helps clear up the image a little bit there. And a lot of apps, what you'll see too is you'll see like an actual line, so you want to make sure that that line is kind of not visible in your sight. That way you know that it's aligned, that it's aligned properly. Now this kit does, one of the differences that some of these kits do have is that they are designed for different size devices. So I picked this one because it said it supported up to 6-inch devices. So, you know, obviously the iPhone 6 Plus is a 5.5-inch screen. Add the case and it adds a little more beef to it. And it still fits in there. I mean, it's not snug. You know, the Velcro is still, you kind of, it does hold together, but you still kind of want to hold it down with your thumbs or with your fingers when you are using it. Now, unlike something like the Oculus or something that is more, you know, more advanced, this one you always have to hold up to your head. It doesn't have a neck or a headband or a head strap of any kind, so you're always holding it up to your eyes for the experience, which is okay for a little short while, but you're not going to do this for any extended period of time. A lot of the experiences that I've tried so far are pretty short, but they're cool nonetheless. And, you know, I got to admit, it's surprisingly effective, you know. Now, granted, it's not, some of the simulations are not as smooth or as graphical intensive or a combination of each as the Oculus, even the older version that I saw a few weeks ago. But nonetheless, like I said, you know, you put your eyeballs in here, and it works surprisingly well. I was actually pretty darn impressed. Remember in the other video when I said one of the simulations that I saw was this Tuscan villa. Matter of fact, well, they have the same simulation for iOS, and every app that I downloaded, I probably downloaded a good dozen of them from the App Store that support this Google Glass. And all of them have been free. And like I said, the Tuscan Villa one is the same thing that I saw in the Oculus. And it might not have been quite, there may have been a little bit of graphic fidelity lost, but it actually worked. And even though the other thing is that the controls for these things are going to be different. You're kind of going to have to look at something kind of like how you do with the Kinect. If you've seen any videos of the Microsoft Kinect, you kind of stare at something and then like it'll highlight for a few seconds and then you go. Or sometimes you'll see like a circle around an item, and then as it, you get a little, the circle will light up as it goes around the circle, and then once it's filled up, boom, then it'll select the item. So I've seen a few different interfaces like that, and there's been a couple times where as I'm holding it up to my face, or I'll have to remove it and then just tap, I'll put my finger in the little nose hole here, and then I will tap the screen just to start the simulation, and then you're fine. But, yeah, I mean, oh, one thing I forgot to mention on the front, too, I haven't played with any of these yet, but this hole here, theoretically, I think is for if you have a simulation that actually does not only the VR thing. Oh, crap. Yeah. Sorry, my battery on my phone is low. This thing here, it's if you have something maybe that also supports augmented reality, so you can both mix your VR and your AR as one kind of deal. I'm guessing that is how this works. Now it also does come with a little piece for if you have a smaller device to kind of help hold it in there. I can't show that to you at the moment because for some stupid reason I already kind of I put it down somewhere and I can't find it. But it's just a nice little plastic thing that you can hold in there. Now on this side also, one thing you want to pay attention to is there's been a couple of apps, the Google Glass one in particular that I've played with. This little QR code thing, some of the apps are going to ask you to, it'll ask the camera to, ask you to focus the camera on this thing. And what that does is it tells the app what flavor of Google Cardboard you are using. So maybe some other ones are set up a little bit differently. So it, when I just held it in front of the camera for a second, boom, it recognized it. It says, oh, you have this device. And then it's like, boom, off, you were off and running. No other real configuration required. It's very easy to set up. Like I said, this one came pre-assembled. I didn't bother doing the assembly because I'm like, yeah, knowing me, I'll screw something up. And it wasn't much more expensive, so I thought, why not? But there are a variety of different Google Cardboard things that are available. And like I said, they work on both Android and iOS now. There seems to be a pretty good variety of apps, at least in the iOS store that I've found. Like I said, I did the Tuscan Villa one. I did one that was a roller coaster ride. That was pretty cool. I did another one that was sort of this weird, I think it was called Sisters, and it was kind of this, you're in a room and then this all kind of weird horror type things happen. But it was kind of a neat little experience. Then there was a couple other ones that kind of showed off some interesting potential. The official Google Cardboard app has a couple of different simulations in there, and the couple that I liked in there was one where you could look around basically a 360 panoramic VR room essentially, and they had a whole bunch of them in there. So it's like there's a whole bunch of sequences that you can tap the screen and it'll switch to a different scene, and then you can look at all these environments. Another thing that they had in there that I thought was cool was almost like a Google Street View. And this is where, like I said, remember in the other video when I said O&M for blind and visually impaired people, if you have a visually impaired person and they want to virtually explore something, especially when you don't have to hold the thing up to your face and maybe you have it on your computer, something that supports even something like the Oculus, and you can literally just walk around and look around with your head. It looks really freaking cool, like even at the lower fidelity of the phone. It was a little choppy here and there, but it was really convincing, and I'm so glad because, there's been a couple of other apps that I looked at. There was like one that was like a racing, you were sitting in the passenger seat where there's this guy going through this crazy, I don't know, like futuristic environment race thing. There was a snowboarding one. There was I don't even remember. There was one that was kind of focusing on like interior design, so it would just show you like a big living room. And again, so imagine you go into some architect or something and you say, yeah, I'd like to, have this house designed, but I'd like to see it, see what it would look like first. And if you have like something simple where they can drag and drop and like, adjust values and plop different colors or different furniture in there, you could be literally watching your house your blueprints being built in front of you, which is very, very cool. So, I mean, there's not just games. I'm actually really interested in some of the educational and other uses for all this VR stuff. But what I was starting to kind of say was that I'm also just really excited because I have something that it's small, it's portable enough. I'm going to take this to work next week. I'm going to be crazy busy, so I won't be able to in the next couple of days, but I'm going to start showing this around the office because, again, VR is one of those things that, I can't show you on the video, even though it's like, yeah, I could zoom into the thing, but it's not gonna, you're still not gonna really get the idea. But what happens is that if you once you see it, even if you look at the cheaper version of like a cardboard, it's not like the Oculus, it's not like the Valve's iteration of VR or Sony, but it is enough, it's still cool enough quality to get people excited. One of the other simulations that I looked at that I forgot to mention was a concert where they recorded different angles and you were sitting like right in front of the stage as pyro was going off, or you were sitting right in front of the piano player. Just looking at all kinds of different perspectives. And you know what? If there was like instead of actually paying to go see a concert where like, yeah, it's cool to be there, but I'm listening to the music, which is great, but if the sound was good enough and if it was to the point where I had an angle where I was right up in front of the stage where I could actually see things better, I would actually use, I could see like a pay-per-view VR concert experience or event experience, sports, music, anything like that, entertainment events, could be pretty cool. So, you can find one of these Google Cardboard things probably, I would say between 20 and 30 bucks, 20 and 40 bucks, depending on how fancy you want to get with it. But you know what? The one that I got here, this Knox Next, is pretty darn spiffy. And if you are interested in, especially if you are low vision and you are interested in VR, but you want to be able to see, you want to be able to check out and say, am I going to be able to see well enough to be able to do this? This is a great, cheaper way to do it, especially if you have a smartphone. You want to have a pretty modern smartphone, either Android or iOS. I probably wouldn't recommend doing it on a phone before the 6 or the 6 Plus. Maybe the 5S, but I'm not sure. Because even on the 6 Plus, there's a little bit of chop on some of these apps, but it is cool. Now, there were a couple of problems that I did have. There were a couple of apps, like I said, where you had a crosshair, which those weren't too bad. But then there were a couple of other ones where the reticle was not really that obvious. And they would want you to focus on like a circle or focus on a logo or something to start, because you don't have actual controls. You're holding it up to your face, so your hands aren't free. But you need a way to interact with the thing to get it going. And there was a couple times where it was kind of hard to pinpoint where I was supposed to look in the environment. But for the most part, I didn't have a problem. The Tuscan Villa one, again, I thought they did a cool trick to get around that. So when I was using the computer, remember, I said that I was using the WASD to move around like I would in any first-person game. Well, this, I don't have my buttons, so what it did is I can look around and I'll be stationary, but if I look down at the ground, then the little floor thing will turn from red to green, and then I can look up, and then I'll just be walking at a set speed forward. When I want to stop again, I just look down at the ground again, and then I can be stationary and do my 360 look around and look up and down, whatever. So that was kind of a neat thing, but yeah, definitely, like I said, VR is a thing, and this is a cheap way to get a glimpse. Like I said, I'm going to be showing coworkers. I'm going to be showing friends. I can take this home. I did tell my mom about it when I talked to her on the phone last time. I said, you know what, this VR thing is kind of cool. You really got to check it out. But I can bring this home, and at least, even my parents, they'll kind of get it. My mom will probably get a kick out of it. But yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I think it's way cooler than the whole 3D gimmick of recent years ever was. I'm pretty stoked. I can't wait for, true computer VR, whether it's the Valve one, whether it's Oculus, sit in front of the computer and actually have real controls via the keyboard and mouse or a controller. And yeah, and some of them support headphones, so I had my Bluetooth headset on, paired with my phone, and I had this going, so I had the sound and audio. It was beautiful. Beautiful. Loved it. That is a VR update and a little glimpse at Google Cardboard and its variations. Just do a search for Google Cardboard. Go to Google Cardboard has a site. Like I said, the knoxlabs.com here. You can go there if you want this particular model. It seems pretty sturdy. It's nice and thick cardboard. I can see, because you have to take it out, the phone in and out all the time because you're switching apps and you don't have a way to really control it. I hope this Velcro is really strong, because as you open it, shut it, open it, shut it. I could see the Velcro wearing out fairly quickly, depending on how much you use it. So, but yeah, this is just something that came out of the blue. I had totally planned on a different video today, but I'm like, you know what? I got to talk more about VR because VR is awesome. And I wanted to at least show you kind of potentially what a cheap VR device is that you guys can go check out right now. Go check out Google Cardboard. Go to your Android or iOS app store. Get some of these free experiences, and you might be surprised. They are kind of cool. Actually, they're very cool, and I can't wait to play more. But with that said, I'm going to wrap it up here. I did get a couple messages from Twitter. People are following me on Twitter, which is great. Thank you. And that I've gotten a couple requests for PC accessible games, more iOS accessible games, and that is in the pipe. It is in the works right now. I should be getting a accessible PC game here pretty shortly, within the next week or so, I would hope. iOS, I've got a couple of ideas. It's just been super busy. And within the last week or so, I haven't been able to do any recording. I haven't been able to do much of anything because I've had this crazy summer, cold T-virus thing that just sucked the life out of me for about 4 days. And my voice and my body is just finally getting back to normal today. I feel actually fairly human today for the first time in a few days, so that is actually really nice. But yeah, so I do have some other pre-recorded videos as well, because I try to record ahead of time in case things like this happen where I get busy or get sick or whatever. So I have some stuff recorded that I'll be able to do until I'm able to record more. But it is coming, so stay tuned on that. I did hear your tweets and your comments and stuff, so we'll keep going with that. But for now, we're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to upload this, yeah, follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, and like and subscribe. Tell other people about the channel. It's really cool to see quite a few subscribers again as of late, and yeah, hope you guys found this interesting. Hope you found it useful, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys again later.